And this transhumanist agenda, ain't it cool, man? It's being pushed by the mainstream media all over the world as a good thing. And this is the process that they've pulled people in on. They want to get in the body and connect the brain to AI. So you start with holdables, technology you can hold, smartphones, tablets. You get people addicted to them, brackets, achieved. A third of American babies now play with smartphones before they can walk and talk. The record numbers in hospital after walking into traffic. It's an addiction, digital heroin. Digital heroin, how screens turn kids into psychotic junkies. Half of families text each other in the same house. Experts say tech craze could have catastrophic effect on family life. What I've been saying through today, one of the major agendas is to destroy the family unit, to drive families apart, like men from women and all these other divisions. Why is it that technology like Siri, Office Assistants and from Apple and these others was seed funded by DARPA and seed funded by the CIA? 14 cutting-edge firms funded by the CIA. This coming through Silicon Valley, not from it. And then you go to stage 2. You've got them addicted to this. Now, wearables. You want to get in the body, but get on it first. So you have your Bluetooth and your Google Glass and your smartwatch. And your stitching circuitry into your shirt to get a better signal. Oh, God, beam me up, Scotty. It's mad down here, mate. One step from the microchip, the electronic tattoo, and then stage 3. And we're heading there now. We're going into it now. Implantables, get inside the body. When I was in Sweden, people were getting microchipped in Sweden. They're having parties to celebrate. Oh, Bill's getting microchipped. Let's have a party. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's very sensible. Let's celebrate the fact you're giving your mind away. Yeah, what a great thing to celebrate. US Navy discussed plans to fit humans with microchips and track their every move. I said in a book called And the Truth to Set You Free in the 1990s, I wrote it in 1994, that they would sell the microchip to parents by saying you'll never lose your child again if you get them microchipped. And they would say that we'll use the microchip to microchip people with mental health problems and people with Alzheimer's so you'll never lose them again. That's exactly what they're doing in America now, using those same excuses to justify microchipping children and old people. House passes bill allowing government to microchip citizens with mental disabilities. There we go. They are putting chips in to drugs so that the doctor knows if you're taking them or not. And this is a process I've been writing about for years, where the plan is that the public is drugged by law. And if you don't take your drugs, they know. And they now have the technology to do that. Test patients' urine to make sure they're taking their medication, says new study. That's another aspect to it. So this is what it really means, the cool, brave world of implantables. This is what it really means, the end of humanity. At the end of this road, I started out with my iPad, then Google Glass and my Apple Watch, and onto the microchip. Then next came, my sat-nav said this way. That's where it's go. Well done, you. This guy died in 1963. He had it stitched up because he had access to the projected agenda. Aldous Huxley, people will come to love their oppression, to adore the technologies that undo their capacities to think. This is an academic at Reading University in Britain called Kevin Warwick. Every time I see Kevin Warwick, I feel a deep depression. He's selling this transhumanist agenda, and he said, if a machine is passing down signals that keep you completely happy, then why not be part of the matrix? Well, I don't want to be you. That's why. Who am I? Whatever AI tells you you are. This is what they want to do. Turn humans into them. And already the human brain has been rewired. They're turning humans literally into goldfish with the attention span of goldfish. This has been shown in studies. Because what they've found, they thought that when the brain was formed, that was it. It was formed, it don't change. They know different now, big time different. They talk about something called brain plasticity. And that is the brain changes the way it processes information, i.e. perception, on the basis of information received. So you change the information received, you'll change the way the brain operates, placidity. So this bombardment of electrical digital stimulus that people, especially the young, are getting from this technology, they're constantly on, is changing, rewiring the brain. There have been many, many mainstream studies that have shown this and how it's destroying, for instance, like I say, attention spans. People can't read a book anymore because they can't concentrate for long enough. They're going to pick the phone up. When you see people, they're on the phone and they put it down and then they have to pick it up again. They can't leave it. Why? Because the brain has become addicted to that electronic stimulus. And it goes into cold turkey when they put it down and have to pick it up again. This is what's happening. The transhuman generation, 1 in 5 teenage boys have best adventures on video games. What I said earlier about the creation of the world army to impose the will of the world government, that's not meant to be a human army eventually. It's meant to be an AI army, a robot army. The robot takeover, DARPA, Google have been involved in this, again, developing these robots to take over the military. So even the military will be controlled by AI. Killer robots will leave humans defenseless, says Professor. That's why it's being done. Again, that's what they're missing. First person killed by a police piece of technology in America. All these military technologies are being transformed into AI technologies where artificial intelligence is running the show and deciding what they do. The Pentagon wants drone swarms to support infantry, came out this week. US military to have more robot soldiers than humans by the year 2025. Robocops are coming to London. They're already in Dubai. They've got robot cops in Dubai. And what we're looking at, because the Matrix was so predictive, because whoever was behind it knew what was coming, you had the Sentinels, artificial intelligence machines controlling humans, everything. How do we get there? We cull the population. There's so many documents showing that they want to cull the population by enormous amounts. And indeed, Nick Rockefeller told Aaron Russo, as I said earlier, that there was going to be a dramatic reduction in the population. And if you're going to have in America anything like that, there has to be a massive reduction in the population. And one of the reasons that they are quite happy to do this is because of the AI takeover. They don't need humans like they have up to this point. Human jobs are disappearing in a fantastic speed because of AI. Chinese company replaces 90% of workers with robots. Robots could take over millions of jobs in the next 15 years. This is a bricklayer that lays bricks six times quicker than humans. They are doing AI farming, AI shepherds with drones in the sky. And they are bombarding the human immune system with endless sources of undermining its strength and its effectiveness, because this is part of the cull. And this is a massive part of the cull. What they're finding now is, and there was one that came out just a few months ago, maybe 2 months ago, there is a dramatic fall in sperm count. And they say they don't know why. Well, it's part of the cull. It's part of reducing the human race. And another thing that's coming, affecting the cull is what's coming out of the sky, not least through aluminium. This is a report in Britain. Aluminium poisoning may trigger Alzheimer's disease, claims professor. Alzheimer's disease has gone through the frickin' roof since chemtrails started. This is another one. Dementia is now the leading cause of death in England and Wales. Well, where the hell has that come from? It's coming from the sky. Bees suffer dementia due to metal pollution. Aluminium contamination may be behind insect decline. It's coming from the sky. Also, all this radiation, GMO, vaccines, absolutely crazily, 74 vaccines in some countries before the age of 17, massively insane. The target of the vaccines is the human immune system. So we become open to other things. And this is why they want mandatory vaccinations, because people are starting to say, hold on a minute, I'm getting a bit concerned about these vaccines and what they're doing. Oh, well, it was your choice to have them. If you're making the choice not to have them, they're now becoming compulsory, because they're massively part of this whole process as well. And so we also have drugging the population. These are the most drugged young generations in human history, all part of the plan. I explained this in Everything You Need to Know. And again, Aldous Huxley was right there, in 1961. There will be, in the next generation or so, a pharmacological method of making people love their servitude and producing dictatorship without tears, so to speak, producing a kind of painless concentration camp for entire societies, so that people will, in fact, have their own liberties taken away from them, but rather enjoy it, because they will be distracted from any desire to rebel by propaganda or brainwashing enhanced by pharmacological methods. And this seems to be the final revolution. And that's massively part of what is happening on university and college campuses all over the world, and why the snowflake generation is being produced. And here we have the CIA documented from a paper that's come to light connected to MKUltra. The CIA documented long-range planning for a drugged and debilitated society. This has been planned all along, and it's in the paperwork that this was the plan all along. And one other area, before I finish this section, is preemptive programming. You may notice that the world that I've just described is coming out in movie after movie after movie after movie. Why? It's something called preemptive programming. The world they want to take us into is so fantastically different to the world we've been in that there is a strong chance of people going, what's going on? What's happening? So what they've been doing is feeding us through movies and TV series the world they want to introduce. And what they're doing is making the subconscious and the conscious, but the subconscious particularly, familiar with that world through movies and television programs. And so as they bring that world in, as they are now, quicker and quicker, in reality, it's no longer quite as alien, quite as strange, quite as, whoa, what's happening, because of the programming that we've been put through. This is why these Hunger Games, Equilibrium, and all these movies, and of course the mainstream pushing transhumanism. And the idea is you put the preemptive programming into the subconscious mind, and it goes through to the conscious mind as a sort of familiarity with what would be very alien otherwise. That is what's happening. And all the time, the slaves are fighting the slaves for the slave owners as a total diversion of focus, so that this can go on unchallenged while they're fighting over whether Trump should do this or Trump should do that. But is it a lost cause? It frickin' seems so, but no way it is. We are heading for this fascist dictatorship, but we can change direction. Because of the way reality works, we can change direction by changing ourselves. In the kingdom of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. When we become the two-eyed, third-eyed man and woman, consciousness, then the game can change, and it can change very quickly, because we're heading there. We could be here. It's just a choice, and we need to make it now. We can paint a better world, and to understand how, we have to see the connection between perception and frequency, and thus how we change this world from what it is to what it can be, far faster than anyone can imagine who thinks this is a solid world of limitation. I'll be back in half an hour to talk about that. Thank you very much. Thank you.